Recite the pledge. Okay, Chief, we have some swearing in of some new officers. Fantastic. Before he swears in, family that are here, welcome. On behalf of myself and the council, thanks for coming. So I know you'll probably all bug out afterwards, so.
Yeah, we typically go upstairs and take some photos or whatever. Love you guys, step in front. Mayor, Council, thank you for this opportunity. Before we do the swearing in ceremony, I'd just like to introduce our newest members of the police department. First off, we have Nick Fleidlin. Nick grew up in the Fargo, North Dakota area. He graduated from UND with a bachelor's in criminal justice. Nick comes to us with 8 years of law enforcement experience, and he lives just south of Crookston with his wife and 6-month-old daughter. Corey Rich in the center. Corey grew up in Lake Bronson, Minnesota. He graduated from Northland Community and Technical College with an associate's degree in criminal justice. Corey comes to us with 3 years of law enforcement experience. And lastly, Derek Cox. Derek grew up in Walker, Minnesota. He graduated from UMC with a bachelor's in criminal justice. Derek comes to us with 7 years of law enforcement experience, and he lives just west of Crookston with his wife and 7-month-old daughter. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. As a police officer with the Crookston Police Department, I solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States and state of Minnesota, to impartially enforce the laws of the United States, state of Minnesota, and the city of Crookston, to work toward providing a safe environment and enhancing the quality of life consistent with the values of our community, to adhere to the ethical values of professionalism, integrity, compassion, and respect, to faithfully discharge the duties of a police officer to the best of my knowledge and abilities. I take this obligation freely and without any mental reservation. Congratulations and welcome to the Crookston Police Department. Turn real quick, guys, and take a picture for Thank you, Council. Appreciate it.
Thank you and welcome.
Welcome, man.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Second to clear.
Yeah, you go ahead.
You're a follower, so.
I am. I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay, Ashley, can I have roll call, please?
Klatt,
Here.
Menard,
Here.
Melby, Jurdy,
Here.
Fisher,
Here.
Briggs,
Here.
Cavalier,
Here.
Kressel.
Okay, this is time for the open forum. If anyone would like to address the council on any issue not on tonight's agenda, may come to the podium. State your first and last name and address, please. Hearing nothing from the chambers. Chad, anybody on the phone bridge, please?
No one this evening, Your Honor. I will close the bridge.
Thank you.
Agent logged off.
Okay, no presentations. This brings us to the agenda. Does anyone wish to add or remove anything from tonight's agenda? Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank
I'll
you,
second
Tim.
it, Your Honor.
Tim and Clayton, thank you. Discussion. Hearing none, can we have roll call, please?
Clat.
Aye.
Menard.
Aye.
Jurdy. Aye. Fisher.
Aye.
Briggs.
Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Okay, this brings us to the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Can I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
Moved, Your Honor.
Second, Your Honor.
Got
I'll second
Delane and
And
Excuse me.
Don.
Don, thank you. Roll call, please.
Clat.
Aye.
Menard.
Aye.
Jurdy. Aye. Fisher.
Aye.
Briggs.
it. Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Okay, no public hearing. Regular agenda. Ashley, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Item 9.01 is a summary of the closed Ways and Means meeting on Monday, March 13th, 2023.
Okay, this is just a summary. We don't need a motion on this.
No, this is a summary that will become part of the file on the closed meeting.
Okay. All right.
Did you want to read it? Are you reading it?
I don't think we need to read it, do we?
I do.
Yeah?
I think so.
All
For
right.
The public.
people at home, maybe.
I'll let Corky read it.
I was like, here you go.
Okay, I can do that.
From the minutes last time?
I got my packets here. Perfect.
This is a summary of the Ways and Means Committee meeting held on March 13th, 2023. The Ways and Means Committee, pursuant to Statute 13D.03 Subdivision 1, Parens B and Parens, and the appropriate notice procedures, had a closed meeting on March 13th, 2023. The meeting was called to order by Mayor Dale Stainbrook at 6:00 p.m. The closed meeting was called to discuss labor negotiations involving the Crookston Professional Firefighters Union Local Number 3394. The labor negotiations were conducted prior to the Ways and Means Committee meeting. City Administrator Corky Reynolds provided information regarding the nature and extent of the potential negotiated terms of a contractual agreement. Corky Reynolds informed council members regarding the initial proposal of the Crookston Professional Firefighters Union number 3394, which included a wage proposal for a cost of living increase, COLA, and a wage adjustment. The initial proposal involved an 8% cost of living increase and a 6% wage adjustment. The bargaining committee for the city of Crookston had a counter proposal of 6% total adjustment, which included a 3.5% COLA and a 2.5% wage adjustment. The wage adjustment and COLA were negotiated and would be a component of a 2-year contract for the contract years 2023 and 2024. Corky Reynolds informed the council the negotiating committee for the city had offered a potential 3-year contract agreement, being 6% for the year 2023, 3% for the year 2024, and 3% for the year 2025. The Crookston Professional Firefighters Union Local Number 3394 did not wish to have a 3-year agreement. The final negotiated resolution and settlement involved a 6% increase for the year 2023, consisting of a 3.5% COLA and a 2.5% wage adjustment, and a 3% wage increase for the year 2024. Discussion was had by council members regarding budgetary concerns and whether the response by the negotiating committee for the city is consistent with the levy and did not involve an adjustment for wages, and did involve an adjustment for the wages to bring the city closer to the median of 8 cities which were deemed comparable. Had by council members regarding the priority of approving this agreement. The council did reach a consensus that the proposed 6% increase for 2023 and the 3% increase for 2024 were appropriate. The terms of the tentative agreement were provided to the council and discussed thoroughly. A consensus of council members was reached to recommend to the city council the acceptance and approval of the tentative contractual agreement, which has also been approved by members of the Crookston Professional Firefighters Union Local Number 3394. The meeting was adjourned at 6:15 p.m.
Thank you, Corky.
Item 9.02 is a resolution approving the lease with the University of Minnesota with respects to the occupancy of Suite 101 at Valley Technical Park.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this
I'll make that
resolution?
motion, Your Honor.
Thank you, Don. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Henry. Discussion. Corky, a little brief on this?
Yeah, this is a lease that expires on April 23rd, 2023. It involves Suite 101 out at Valley Technical Park. This presently houses the arrangement with the university where Christine Anderson provides services for various city and area businesses and groups who are initiating businesses, who need business plans, who need advice with regard to their businesses. Christine Anderson has provided services to us in the past. She continues to provide services and in fact is providing services in terms of time management, ways to be more efficient of our city employees in their occupation. And we provide this lease at no cost to the university as our contribution towards this entity and this program.
Thank you.
Question, is there a dollar amount that could be, I guess, because, we talked about this at our budget time, and they asked for an additional amount. It'd be nice to have an amount that if we charge this out to somebody else, what we would charge them, so then that could in sense say, well, this is the amount of money we're giving you for that.
Well, we could assign a value to it and say this is worth X dollars.
Right.
Whether that would have the effect on anybody's taxes or just.
No, I'm just, when we did our budget, we denied the budget and I kind of thought, well, maybe if we knew if there was a dollar amount of what we were actually giving them through the use of this room, it would be nice to.
I think if you wish, I can talk with Carrie Kushmar, director there of
Yeah.
community development. We could arrive at a number. Or Ryan.
Christine actually has a really interesting role when it comes to working with, say for myself, the MIF applications that new businesses want to do or an existing business that wants to go in and grow. She plays a very good part with helping that business and fill out all that paperwork. And I'm actually currently using Christine to help a couple of my employees be better time management and be more efficient at their jobs and give them more training. And it's something that she has a lot of experience in education in, which has been very helpful.
Don't misunderstand, I'm not diminishing her value, I'm just saying, I want to see what the city is kicking in for her being there. That's all I'm saying.
Well, we did, at one time it was a split. I think we gave 15,000 and the university gave 15,000.
Okay.
Actual monetary
Dollars.
contribution.
On top of what the rent that we're writing
Correct.
off, basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and then I know the previous council had, you know, concerns about, are we getting our bang for our buck with this? And after that, I think it came out of economic development's budget to pay that 15,000. Is that correct, Carrie?
I actually have 10,000 in mind, because I've worked with Small Business Development Center a lot. We're talking about, we have a person's name attached to it, but the SBA is a huge organization across the nation that I've used a lot. And yeah, she's also working with me and training, working with some of my staff where they need some extra help. But Delane, I think we're gonna go, we'd be somewhere between 300 and 400 per month if that was going to be, if rent was gonna be applied to that.
Kate?
I would also like to say that I think that the utilization of her services have been more since maybe the last director or two of the EDA, if I'm not mistaken. And I also think the other piece I'd like to see, and I think that we've continuously to ask this, is that we do know that there's a lot of assistance with Thief River Falls, and we don't see their city kicking anything in. And we would continuously ask that they go back and ask for funding as well in other places. But I do think that we're utilizing that resource a lot. I shouldn't say that resource, it's a person, but the SBC, or the SBC rate, we're utilizing that a lot more now than we probably have in the past. And so I do think that there's a greater value add to that than there probably has been in the past.
I think that's accurate, Council Member Jurdy. We have used their services more in the last 6 to 8 months than we have probably in the 2 to 3 years prior.
She's been around.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Platt,
Aye.
Menard,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Moving on.
Item 9.03 is a resolution to approve the easement with Otter Tail Power Company, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tim. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton. Discussion?
This is an easement over city property that will essentially run from Crescent Avenue down to approximately Holly in the Woods Addition to provide additional electrical service to those areas. It will be bored underneath the river. There may be other entities that are involved, but this is our approval of this easement.
And this provides extra infrastructure for those areas then?
Yes, electric service, yes.
Great, thank you.
Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Platt,
Aye.
Menard,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 9.04 is a resolution receiving engineer's report and calling for a public hearing on the 2023 street improvements, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you,
I'll
Dwayne.
second that, Your Honor.
Second by Don. Thank you. Discussion?
This is the engineer's report with respect to the 6 potential street reconstructions within the city for this particular year. And it would also be calling for a public hearing, so people concerned with the potential reconstructions at these 6 designated areas could come and speak to you at that hearing. I believe the hearing would be held on April 10th
Correct.
here in Chambers.
Is there any more conversation about extending the loans or the cost per year? I know that we had talked about that. Is that part of this public hearing, or would that be a different conversation?
I think that would be part of this particular hearing,
Okay,
what the assessment rate would be and which areas would be covered.
okay.
Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Platt,
Aye.
Menard,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 9.05 is a resolution to approve the delegated contract process, DCP, agreements between MnDOT and local public agencies, LPA, eligible to receive federal funds.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Henry. Discussion. Corgi, does this have to do with
When we receive federal
state aid
funds,
for,
they must be managed, if you will, the state must be our agent. So the state acts as a pass-through to us of federal funds which we receive pursuant to this contract. It's quite lengthy, but it is very similar to ones we've done in the past. And also, you will note that on page 6 of the contract, it designated Amy Finch as the city's representative or their successor. We did discover that, contacted the state of Minnesota, and they have submitted and changed it to my name. So that would be the only change in the contract. But it is required by state statute, and this is the contract that the state drew up and submitted to us.
thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Clat,
Aye.
Menard,
Aye.
Jerdy,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 9.06 is a resolution to approve the intermediary relending loan program and mortgage satisfaction on the property owned by Bucky's LLC, a Minnesota limited liability company with respect to the document A000688629, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tim. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Henry. Discussion?
Our intermediary lending program was given to Bucky's LLC. That's actually the people who have Ace Hardware. They had a loan agreement, and to secure that loan, we took a mortgage on the property. They've now paid their loan off in advance. And so we should give them a satisfaction to be recorded and to remove that lien, that mortgage lien on the property at the county recorders.
Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Clat,
Aye.
Menard,
Aye.
Jerdy,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 9.07 is a resolution to approve the labor agreement between the City of Crookston and the Crookston Professional Firefighters Union, Local Number 3394, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve
I'll
this
make
resolution?
that motion, Your Honor.
One by Don. Is there a second?
Second.
Clayton, thank you. Discussion?
You've heard all about this in the closed meeting summary. This has been approved by the firefighters, and we're asking your approval tonight for that 2-year contract.
Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Clat,
Aye.
Menard,
Aye.
Jerdy,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 9.08 is a resolution accepting bids and awarding contract for the agricultural road, street, and utility construction.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved, Your Honor.
Thank you, Delane. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Henry. Discussion?
What this is to accept the bids and award the contractor the contract regarding the construction at the AIC. We do have a grant, probably not even a grant, an allocation from the state for $895,000. There is a grant application being submitted for approximately $450,000 to make up the difference between our allocation from the state and the cost of the road. And we'll know if we get that grant sometime in the future that Community Development Director Kirschbaum is submitting, and we'll go ahead with that award and get that construction undertaken. Previous councils in the city have authorized and said we're going to build a road out there, so we should build the road. And this will allow us to go forward with that.
Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Clat,
Aye.
Menard,
Aye.
Jerdy,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
motion carries. Okay, moving on, reports, Corky.
As always, a busy 2 weeks. Our city clerk was gone for training and conference, and so we had a lot of meetings, a lot of in-house working, talking about all of these resolutions, working with Carrie, our community development director, on a number of projects. We're working on developing a procurement policy. We're working on a policy that may very well change our reimbursement for city employees who go and travel on behalf of the city. We attended a meeting of Ward 4, and Don had set up and had good discussions there. I have had meetings with 2 people of the ward, an additional one is coming up to talk about our plans for the ward. Very, very general items that we've talked about and how we go about dealing with Woods Addition and what our plans are, or discussions regarding how we deal with the streets and the housing in the woods. So it's been a busy, busy 2 weeks.
Thank you, Corky. We'll start with Brandon tonight. Thank you.
So Ashley's prepared the street assessment notifications for those 5 or 6 projects. So those will be going out here. Any questions with any of the assessment calculations, they can give me a call at City Hall at 281-1232. And I can walk them through it on how we came up with the assessments. Other than that, with it being slightly warm anyways, the guys have been running around with the thawing machines and getting the catches, taking water, and been working with Shane a lot to try and get ready for high water. Hopefully stays slightly lower this year, but so we'll be preparing for that in the next couple weeks and hope it's not a big fight, but we'll be ready for a big one if we need to. So any other questions? That's all I really got.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. Jake.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you. Shane?
Yeah, we got just a couple things. We'll start with the hiring process right now is still ongoing. We haven't closed it yet, so we're still hoping a couple applications come in. Try to get a few applicants so we can decide. But I'll keep you updated with that as we go along. Bob's retirement party will be on Wednesday from 1 to 4 p.m. Be great if you came down and showed your support. I was a firefighter there for 22 years. You heard on the radio, he was talking about, the training that he's been able to do and accomplish and try to change departments with the people that he trained. You're talking right now to a person that he did take under his wing. Bob pushed me and challenged me to become the firefighter that I have become. So I'm just standing up here and I want to thank him for everything that he's done for me in my career. And he's going to have some big shoes to fill. We've got 5 guys right now that we're trying to delegate some of those responsibilities to, but he's going to leave a big hole. So he's a very dedicated firefighter. It's just going to be tough to see him leave. I know he's not stepping completely away. He's talked about with emergencies and stuff like that. When we talk about CERT and public engagement, he's still going to be around. So he's still going to be a guide on that fact, but if you can, come down and offer your support to him on his future endeavors here on Wednesday. With that, CERT training, we're going to have that again on the 12th. And the firefighters will be reaching out to CERT members and to you as council to contact you, to have you come down for that night. That'll be... Thanks, I don't know why that
Chief,
came
your
over
radios
that.
work.
No, we're good. That's why that came over that radio, I'm not sure. Appreciate that. But what we're gonna go over, it'll be 6 to 9 p.m. what we're gonna go over is sandbagging techniques, kind of doing some review, kind of some lessons learned from last year. So I'm gonna do some sandbagging techniques, and then we are gonna get into their command posts. We are gonna focus on our flood wards, so wards 1, 4, and 5. And I had sent an email to council, and we're gonna pair up. So wards 1 and 2 are gonna work together, 3 and 4, 5 and 6 are gonna work together. Essentially what that, it's just kind of a little answer, it's kind of been staring at us here, is that we can double our resources right away just by getting us to pair up, team up, work together. So we're gonna try that, get experience, get people into these wards, just to give you some information, see how things operate. So, did talk with one of the councils at large, and essentially one of those roles is gonna be maybe just a as needed, where needed potential, where if we have an issue or maybe we are lacking some manpower in one area, we're gonna be able to maybe shift a couple people around and be able to fill some of those spots.
I would say, just from past experience, Shane, I think by like the third time we opened the EOC last spring, I think for me and Don, we were both pretty worn out. And so to have that large members to kind of fill those holes would be really helpful, I think, if we extend this as long as we did last year.
And that's, last year was really unique. Came up, went down, came up, went down, thinking, okay, and it came up again. I don't know if anybody's ever been here and seen 3 crests in that amount of time. So it was good to have those lessons, have those experiences. Ultimately, positive outcome. We didn't lose anything major. So, but I think that is one thing as we go forward. Those will be some of the lessons. Yeah, Don.
Yeah, those sessions, that session is really worthwhile that we had for CERT training. Thank you very much for.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that was great. Great time. Thanks, Christy.
Yeah, I also really appreciated you outlining the jobs and roles and responsibilities for council, because having been on now for 2 years, I hadn't seen something like that prior to now. Though obviously I understood my role last year, but I think it's just nice for the new people and just a kind of refresher for those who weren't quite familiar with what exactly their role and responsibility is for the EOCs are. So thank you for that. I do know that we've had quite a few individuals who are starting to get antsy in town just because of their concerns with what happened last year, for good reason, obviously. So it's good to hear that you guys are prepping and getting to where we need to be. And I'm sure you'll be providing more communications out as we go. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
So with that, I'll touch on that in just a second. We're gonna go through also, one thing that we learned last year was we're gonna get some firefighters trained on our proper sandbagging techniques and stuff. So, on the 6th of April, we've got our monthly training, and that's actually gonna be one of our stations. We're gonna get through. We're gonna rely on some of those guys to be out and kind of working with our CERT teams, knowing that, availability right away might not happen. So we're gonna just try and get them out, get everybody kind of on the same page. When we're talking about boots on the ground operations, the leadership is synonymous. We're all going in the right direction, and we're doing it correctly from the get-go. So we're just gonna do a little bit of background training on that. Had a briefing with the Minnesota National Guard, and one thing that you're probably gonna notice is the Crookston Armory is gonna be a little busier than normal. Moorhead's Armory is under construction. So they are actually going to shift them up here to Crookston, and that's gonna be one of their staging areas for the year. So you're probably gonna see a little bit of commotion. Nothing to get too worked up about. They're just gonna choose their staging here in Crookston since it's available. They're gonna utilize the armory here in town. If more information comes off of that, I'll make sure to pass that on. But we're gonna start to see personnel coming up and moving around in that area.
I would imagine that wouldn't be a bad thing for us.
We are still gonna go through the proper channels to
Of
be
course,
able
of
to.
course, but they're a lot closer than Fargo.
But yes, if we do need them, they're gonna be a little bit closer. So depending on how we can get that lined up and orchestrated, yeah, they're gonna be just north of town.
Okay.
The Weather Service released their last forecast on Thursday, and with that, as you were probably more than well aware, we are having a very late thaw. Seeing a lot of things, and there's pictures that families are having saying, hey, I was out on a bike ride at this time last year, And that's not happening right now. There's still a lot of snow, still a lot of ice. So as we're going forward with that, further we get into this, we're keeping an eye on the weather. We're keeping an eye. They say it every year when they start these forecasts in February, is it always depends on that freeze-thaw cycle. Further we get into April, we're talking more of just a thaw cycle. So I've been talking about it with Brandon a little bit, and we are doing some preparing based a little bit more maybe on some overland type of flooding with the water flow. There's a lot of culverts that are packed with snow and ice. So we're trying to get ahead of that game a little bit. So Brandon and I have been in contact, and with Dave Lessard has been there too, and we're trying to make sure that we can get ahead of this game a little bit. And we've made some phone calls to other resources and stuff. So just be aware that those contacts are happening. We are going to try to prepare kind of on both ends of this now when we talk about overland plus with the river. So that's the biggest thing that we took out of these webinars, was that it's going to depend obviously on how this snow melts, how fast it's going to melt, and now we're getting to the point of where's it going to go. Talking with Jody Boucher in the Polk County EM, usually their ditches and stuff are opened up by now. They're not. So there's going to be a lot of things that are going to come into play here as we start to get warmer and this stuff starts to melt. So we'll keep you updated. We talked about we're going to try and do everything that we can to make sure that the public is aware of these stages, how we're going on, what's progressing, and what our plans are. With that, one note, sandbagging equipment is up and operational. So that stuff's ready if we need it. We've got that staged. We've got our resources. We've got phone calls that are already in. So if there's stuff we're going to need, we either already have it, it's being stockpiled, or we're just a phone call away and we're going to have it. So that stuff's being laid out right now. A couple more resource contacts have been updated, just going through some of the manuals and stuff like that. A couple pages might have been outdated, so we made sure that we had the right contact numbers, the right personnel in place. So once again, it's just a phone call away. I do have to thank Dave Lessard, Brandon, Scott Butt, Jake. We went through, when we start talking about an EOC staff or some of this high water experience, Dave Lessard's been around just as long as anybody, and he's got some very valid points. He has some very unique perspectives of these. It's not his first rodeo, so being able to rely on him quite a bit. Really didn't want to bother Brandon when he was on vacation, so really fell on Dave, and we really got the ball going, and he has really stepped up in anything that I've really asked for, just information and resource-wise. He's really come with everything that he's had, so it's just nice to be able to take that next step and make sure that that stuff is ready. As you said, apparently there's some talk around town right now going on about when are we going to sandbag, what are we sandbagging. Brandon and I will meet later this week, and we're just going to kind of come up with maybe more of an elaborate plan, kind of step-by-step wise. At this point in time, we're constantly in the planning and prepping phase, and that's what it's a lot of behind-the-scenes work right now. So making sure that as this event unfolds, we're already going to have things in place to be able to activate and do what we have to do. So, and then Friday we had our EOC staff meeting with department heads and some other EOC staff. What we accomplished in that hour was fantastic. I got a lot of feedback, and it was really good for me to be able to come and work together, and now we're going to establish a plan on how we're going to operate that EOC, how we're going to man that EOC, who's going to be doing what. We're going to make sure that we've got that kind of laid out, so if this event does come forward, we're going to be prepared to do that. And that'll be starting at the EOC and then trickle down, go to our CERT teams, we're going to go to our command post, and it's going to filter down from there. So a lot of those things are being put in place as we speak, and that's kind of where I'm at for right now.
I know, Shane, that we had talked a little bit about just reimagining what the volunteer experience looks like too, correct? And you guys are working on that. I know one of the things that I've also been asked is like, A, where can I volunteer? And B, where can I get sandbags? And so what would you say would be some of the places that people should be looking for that information? I'm imagining you're putting it on like the city Facebook and maybe CaroX, but is there, and maybe on the website, but is there like one place that we can encourage them to look if they're looking for resources or looking to volunteer?
Though, okay, so we'll go resources wise first. With that, right now, kind of just at the incipient stage of how we're gonna formulate that message and then how we're gonna get it out. I've talked to the people that have contact with, or the utilization, being able to have the permissions to kick it out on our city's Facebook page and to kick it out on our city's website. Those conversations have happened a little bit, and we should be able to just kick it out right there and get them that information. That is not set yet on where, but we have the plan in place when that does happen, that we can get that message out and get that directed where people need it.
Okay.
And then with the volunteers, I'd like to touch base with you a little bit afterwards on that, where we talk about the volunteer intake forms. And if there's ways to streamline that, that's gonna be hugely advantageous.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Shane. Brian?
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Greg?
No report, Your Honor.
Chad?
Yes, Your Honor. Just wanted to report that we have installed 2 new workstations in the computer workstations in the water department. One is at the main water desk for Lynn, and the other is a new Surface Pro for the water sewer on-call that'll be shared between individuals in the department. We assisted today with the upgrade of the Remit Plus water department billing software. That's on a new version. We have new equipment racks that were installed and being installed, one for EDA housing, one out at the water treatment plant, and one pending for the street shop. We have been meeting over the past 2 weeks with Exogen, our managed service partner, to bring our new core networking equipment online. And I had the privilege to flip the switch today on the 3 new city servers. They're up and running over at the police department, and we are very close to completing our upgrade. Are there any questions?
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gary? Looks awful enthused.
So I want to thank the council for being my council over at Housing and Economic Development for my first 6 months. We had our new board was sat in place last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, and I think it turned out well. I know Tim and Delane, thank you for continuing to serve with me on that board. I'm excited about that. And then I want to just thank the council for meeting with me over the last week with the mayor and with Corky to kind of hear what's going on. We heard some great things, and I'm kind of pulling my notes together, and I'll try to encapsulate it all and get it out to you guys over here probably next week. So, any questions?
Thanks, Gary. All right, Chief Darren.
Last one, so I figured I'd just start walking up here. And I have just a couple minor things. Again, I'd just like to welcome our newest officers, Nick Fladland, Corey Rich, and Derek Cox, Crookston Police Department. They bring a wealth of experience with them. Nice part about that is either by the end of this week, 2 out of the 3 will already be done with their training. When they bring that kind of experience with them to the city of Crookston, it really cuts down on that training time. We'd likely be into July or August before the training would be done, so that's really helpful for everybody to kind of get in their positions and make that work. So again, the final position, we did make an offer. I was hoping to have a final offer and introduce that candidate to you. However, not going to bore you with the details. We ran into a snag with the company we use for the physical agility testing, which is a standardized testing through the League of Minnesota Cities. The company that we subcontract through out of Fargo is no longer doing it, but we did co-op, or I should say not co-op, we partnered with Riverview, and now they are also getting certified to do those for us, which also they would be the only ones in the area, so it'd be kind of a good resource for them also. So I know I missed the last meeting. I had mentioned that our water main leak, we were hoping to have that done. I'm happy to report it's all fixed, repaired, everything's back to normal. Each year, Stenchel Housekeeping Funeral Home hosts a law enforcement appreciation lunch. They've been doing it for several years. Tomorrow, they're hosting a lunch for all local area law enforcement. So we appreciate their support in the Crookston community for their supporting local law enforcement. And then I was talking with Corky about this a while back, when the server room is completely done, which Chad is hoping within the next 30 days, we do have our police garage about 99% done, so I thought it'd be nice, maybe do some photos and just do a quick 5 or 6 slide PowerPoint, kind of update everybody where we're at with that. It's pretty impressive, and we appreciate everything that you've allowed us to do with that, so. Yeah, unless there's any questions. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's start with Christie.
I was at the DCDP meeting on the 15th, and we kind of just talked about some of the events that'll be happening coming up, including, I believe it's the Tuesday, Dawn, music downtown. And some other great things. DCDP also has sponsored some live theatrical, well, not live, but via the Grand Movie Theater plays, including Hamilton, Alice in Wonderland, and Peter Pan for the next couple months. So those are pretty exciting opportunities to have in our town. I had Park and Rec meeting, and we were just talking about some of the donations that the Baseball Association has provided, which is quite gracious, as well as the fund finder for Park and Rec things for the summer comes out April 10th. I did attend the CERT training on the 16th, and similar to Dawn, felt like it was a good use of our time. So thank you for putting that together, Shane, and I look forward to meeting next month on that. I also had the opportunity to meet with some representatives from the university to talk about opportunities for collaboration between the city and the university, and I felt that that was a really good first step in some of the conversations that we need to have to do more joint things, considering they are quite the resource to have in our town. Other than that, I was appointed vice chair of the Board of Adjustments at the county, so that's exciting. And I think that's all I have for today.
All right, thank you, Christie. Henry?
I was along with Christy at the UMC meeting where we talked about what we could do to have a better collaboration with them. Had several meetings with Carrie. I'm getting to know her very well. I also enjoyed our meeting with the mayor and city administrator as well. Feel like we got a lot of work done. And hope everybody's cheering for the Gophers on April 6th.
There it is.
I know one who will be.
Two.
All right, thanks, Henry. Clayton?
Good, Brandon, to see that the guys are out trying to get those sewer systems or whatever opened up. That it's gonna help a lot, I think, with getting some of that water out of the way, and it's not distracting or bringing in complaints of bumpy roads. And also, I attended the CERT training also, and it was well done. I appreciate that, so nothing else.
Thank you. Don?
I want to thank the members of the city council that attended the Ward 4 meeting, especially the Corky and Dale and Carrie and Brandon, because they gave us some good information for the ward. The discussions included the streets and the housing and flood control and so forth. And so we didn't meet because of the COVID, and the committee's back in line now for Ward 4 in the downtown area. So I really want to thank you people for being there, because it meant a lot to the people that were there. And I've been getting nice calls now from some of the people down in the ward, and they're saying that was a good meeting that we had, and we need to have more of those, so they know where they stand. And it was a positive meeting; it wasn't negative, and we talked very, very adultly about the different things to come. And Carrie kept us on track, right, Carrie? Yeah. Thank you a lot. We appreciate it.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
Don, I also want to thank you for continuing to have those meetings. And I feel that a lot of those members at times felt like they hadn't been heard in the past. And I really was impressed by the fact that a lot of the residents that came felt like it wasn't just talk, but they actually saw movement and a lot of the things that were being addressed. So thank you for putting that together and providing that opportunity.
Kudos, Don.
Thank you, Dale, for being there. We appreciate it. You guys did really a good job, and I got some good comments about that, so, thank you.
Thank you. Delane?
As Carrie said earlier tonight, we have a community-based cheetah board. I just want to let the council people know that Tim and I are your representatives. And if there's anything on the agenda that you have a question about, or please feel free to come to me. I will do my best to be a representative of the city and you guys on the cheetah board. So my first commitment is to you guys on the cheetah board. So I wanted to let you guys know that, so.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Lane. Can I also ask, like going to the Park and Rec board and stuff, that we could get a report from what happened at that meeting, just to kind of,
Sure.
you know, like a summary?
I think that's gonna be my job. I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be the
So I
liaison.
don't-
Henry, I think it would be really great if you could give us a summary of that meeting.
Yeah.
I'll be on it.
Okay.
On that
Yeah.
note, so I don't forget, Henry's gonna be a liaison to the cheetah board, or economic development, I owe a quarter.
Quarter.
Yeah, we've generated several $100,000 with the quarter donation, if you say, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And before I get on to Tim, have we decided on a name? No. Okay, I'll leave it at that. All right, thank you.
Got the marketing department on it.
Tim?
Well, everybody's stolen my thunder, so I participated in the same meetings that Christie and Henry and Delane and Don and the mayor and Clayton have. I just want to say that I've noticed and have had comments from members of the community of the change of the tenor of the council, and that there seems to be a spring of encouragement, enthusiasm, positivity, and let's just keep moving forward with that. Thank you.
Thank you. I just got a few things here. First, I want to thank the Tom Hunt family for their donation to the Crookston Park and Rec, and also I know Christie mentioned Baseball Association, so Crookston Baseball Association. So we thank them for their even their dedication to Crookston baseball. I also attended UMN and the Crookston Community Conversation. A big thanks to the Chancellor Mary for kind of spearheading that, and sounds like we're going to continue to have some in the future. I want to thank the council too for finding the time to meet with Carrie and Corky and myself last week. Big thanks that way. And also CERT training. I'm just going to put my 2 cents worth in here. For a council, I think the CERT training is very important for our community. You know, it's just not high water event. It's also could be straight line winds, tornadoes. And I guess I was a little disappointed that most of the council wasn't at that last CERT training. You know, it's a lot of hands-on, and, you know, and I guess our role, you know, is not to be up there throwing sandbags. Our role is to give direction and delegate on those levies if we come to that. And I just want to mention to the council that, and even the public, you know, they think we're protected, but you get water on those levees, you need to monitor them. It can be an inch of water on those levees, and we need to go out every few hours and just do a quick walk. So I just want to encourage the next CERT training on April 12th. That's at 6 p.m. that, you know, if the council's got nothing else going on, appreciate it if you show up to the next training. That's all I have. Nothing else come before council. We will have no Ways and Means tonight, so we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.